What's up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program.
Yo, welcome back. Episode 3, Airtime Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'd like to start this podcast off by saying, rest in peace to J2. I didn't personally know J2, but I got a lot of love for this homie because I'm still saying County Orange baby to this day.
County Orange, baby.
He's been in like every single movie. Kingpin's Destroyer, Finger on the Triggers, Represent. He's in Burning Bridges, more. He was truly embedded in the snowboard community. He's like the John Candy of snowboarding. It looks like he's keeping everybody laughing, the good vibes rolling. And I know towards the end of his career, he was definitely more known for being the funny guy. But you got to take into account that this homie was getting buck back in the early day. Like, hitting triple kinks way before their time, huge down rails. The homie was getting buck. And let's not forget, back then, they didn't put snow on the stairs for whatever reason. I think it was like a faux pas or something. And they would put like 0 snow in the landing. It would be like 3 scoops. There was just concrete everywhere. And these dudes were hitting legit spots. I feel like J2's early snowboarding maybe sometimes gets overlooked, but definitely to me, I was like, hot damn, that dude was on some shit. Like, he was fearless, and the utmost respect for J2 in his early days of jibbing and jumping for that matter. Yeah, my condolences go out to his friends and family, and much love to J2. Another incredible personality in snowboarding is none other than my guest, Mike Rav. Boom. Super excited to have this homie on the podcast. Always excited to see what Rav's up to. You never know what this guy's going to do because he can do everything. He can ride anything. Enjoy, and thanks for tuning in. We got Mike Rav. First guy I've done in the last little bit. I've been chilling. What have you been up to, man? It's good to have you on here. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, Jody, thank you for having me. I have just kind of been doing on the same stuff that I've been doing for some time now. Just boarding and kind of trying to figure it all out.
What do you mean figure it all out?
Just, life stuff. Day to day, just waking up, figuring out.
Yeah, are you like a day-to-day guy, or are you like looking into the future?
Kind of could be classified in any category. I'm definitely thinking a bit in the future sometimes, and then sometimes I'm thinking in the past. Sometimes I'm thinking right now.
I like it. I feel like I'm the same way.
Just like I think everybody does.
I think everybody does that to a bit, but you seem a little bit. You're pretty present, man. That's a loose put term, but I gotta say.
I appreciate that. I really do. I just sometimes I try to be. I'm trying my hardest, but sometimes it's.
You know what? I gotta say I've been doing the same thing. Listen to a few books, a few podcasts. That's what I'm doing, and I was like, if I could just slow down and be a little bit more present for all of this, life would be a lot more enjoyable. And I think I've been doing better at it since I noticed that I want to do that. I've been getting a lot better at doing that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the first step.
I mean, you gotta think about it.
Never ending though, never really get anywhere.
It's an unachievable goal.
It's just something to do during the day,
Nah, dude, you mad present. So we're in Mammoth Mountain right now, home of Mammoth Lakes. We're in Mammoth. When I say Mammoth Lakes, who do you think of?
I think they're not from here, but the grenade guys that were here.
Yeah,
or
who
spent some time here.
Who are some of your grenade boys?
I don't really necessarily know any of them personally, but this guy who back east, his name is Eric Koval.
Oh, sick.
He started a wax company called Ass Wax that was like an East Coast thing.
With Pat Moore.
Yep, with Pat. And he lived, I think, at June Mountain or something with all those guys, and they had a band, and I remember Eric told me a couple stories, but, all the grenade videos and everything, you see mammoths, so that's what I associate with.
Dude, when I think of Mammoth, I think of Danny Cass.
Yeah, exactly.
Danny's my, well, he's not my boy. I've only met him once. He was at Grenade Games in Whistler like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, Danny's been I remember there was an old grenade ad, and he's like at the bottom of a half pipe with the actual Army helmet, and he's got those misfit gloves, and he's like, I don't know, he's like looking up, and then he had like this like air to fakie with like this weird grab. Which maybe in a weird way influenced me to grab kind of weird. Dude, you get pretty funky with the tweaks and stuff.
Not really. I got like 2 grabs right now. I got to really figure it out next coming.
What do you mean you got 2 grabs? I've seen you do like 20 on the strip.
Yeah, right. I got an indie grab and I got...
Dude, method?
I got a method, yeah.
Yeah. That's all you need.
I can do grabs. I need to focus more energy into kind of switching it up a bit.
I don't think so, dude. I think your bag of tricks is pretty...
It can always change, always be better.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, when I've been watching... Because I've never really rode with you before. And we've just been cruising. We're on like a little bit of a Vans trip right now. We've been kind of like driving around from Vancouver. Now we're in California. We wound up in Mammoth. And seeing you ride, like, you can kind of ride everything. And some tricks that you have are, like, really technical. Like, switch hand plant. Like, what's that one you were doing? Like, switch and direct to switch?
I don't want to get going with names and stuff for people these days, you know. I don't know what it is called.
Dude, I don't even know what that shit's called.
Ride and switch, and then you drop I think it's a switch eggplant back to, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, that was my favorite. Because I was bringing up the hand plant topic in a way that I was like, I hope I'm not going to offend him that I don't know the name of this hand plant.
Dude,
I was
literally, this has been a constant reoccurring thing for me on this trip is that with skating too, is that people are like, oh, well, what was that? Like what, you know, this and that. And I don't know the names of like a lot of things. So I kind of just like, I don't know, it's this or that.
Totally. We got Dan just creeping out of the room, being all quiet over there.
What's up, Dan?
I mean, Dan doesn't know the name to every hand plant either. I mean, who does really? I mean, same with like pipe tricks. I can kind of figure out the names of them. You know what I mean? Like the Michael Chuck and the Crippler, etc. But the hand plant, it goes into this wormhole of shit that I'm like, I don't know the name. I used to play Tony Hawk Underground, which obviously you did too. And I mean, like that's pretty much the extent of my knowledge of hand plants is from Tony Hawk.
I don't know. I just like if maybe I'll be at a quarter pipe and Bridges will be like, oh, this and that. Might catch them, you know, some of the names of them. But I don't know. That's also with that being said, not knowing some of the names skating too. It's like nice to know what the stuff is called. You know, it'll probably help you in the long run. So definitely gonna start, you know, thinking about it.
Well, it's like when people go. Like, some people have this, like, I think it's kind of messed up. Like, if I'm going switch, if you're going switch, when you do a method, like a switch method, do you call it a stale fish? You know what I mean? Like, because some people start getting they're like, are you going to do a cab, like, for me, someone's like, are you going to do a cab 7 tail? I'm like, okay, I'll do a cab 7 tail, which is kind of unrealistic because I'm not that good at that trick. But anyways, for argument's sake, I'm doing a cab 7 tail. I'm grabbing with my back hand to my tail, regardless of my stance. That's a cab 7 tail. It's not a cab 7 nose.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you do?
I just, for me, just to maybe even just end this conversation, I think that they're just all movements, and they might have names just like for a lot of things in this world, but really they're just things, and
they're not that important.
Some of them, the names aren't so much important. I don't think. I think that a lot of stuff gets, you know, a lot of energy gets put towards some of that stuff, but really, I don't know. So they're just tricks. They're fun. That's kind of where I'm at with them, but start looking into it a bit. Where
did you start at the season? Like, do you ride your home mountain? Do you have like a routine you do at the beginning of the year?
I would say I have my only routine. I don't have a routine as like a set thing, but I'm in the preseason or the early season, I'm just trying to get like my head together, you know?
Totally.
Just trying to like get ready for upcoming season. You know, it's kind of...
Do you got any rituals with that? Are you doing yoga?
I wouldn't say I do yoga. I don't think I have like a meditative, awareness. I don't think I'm really meditating, so I don't know if you can consider it yoga.
Yeah.
But I stretch.
Yeah.
I'd call it, just stretching. Try to be creative with it and just like actually figure out what you're doing.
It keeps you limber.
But I'll hit a class here and there if I can. I just went with my dad's girlfriend. Just caught one and back in Massachusetts. So
that's your home. Fun. That's your home base, eh? Massachusetts.
No. I live in Bend. I just moved to Bend, Oregon for the summer, but I was living in Salt Lake, and I haven't lived in Mass in about like close to 10 years.
So that's where you grew up, though, right?
I grew up in Massachusetts. Yeah.
And then what's your local mountain in Massachusetts?
Just a little. There's like two. I would say there's Ski Ward, which is in the town that I grew up in called Shrewsbury, and then there's Wachusett Mountain, which is like a little bit further away, and that's like kind of where you kind of graduate from Ski Ward to Wachusett when your riding gets a little better.
So growing up there, do you have like a handful of dudes that you kind of looked up to Obviously you
Totally.
did, but like, did those dudes continue to snowboard to like?
Not so much. From my area, there's a ton of boarders, ton of skaters, and BMX. We were fortunate. Like, kind of did it all.
You grew up skating, snowboarding, and BMX.
Yeah, whatever. Honestly, that whole scene was kind of just like a lot of energy around it. So, kind of just got into it, whatever was going on. And then there's a lot of cool people kind of in that whole scene as well. So yeah, there was a bunch of boarders in my area that I looked up to. I still look up to, and
You got some names for us? Anybody we'd know?
there's so many. None. I mean, Chris Grenier, obviously,
Oh,
but I'm
shit,
talking
yeah.
like the stuff I'm talking about is like more, way before this.
Yeah, like child stage.
Yeah,
when
like
you're,
the
in high school.
hometown guys, like
Yeah.
and some of them, it's tough. A lot of them, people go through life, and they're not bored anymore or anything like that, but they're responsible for a lot of like energy, excitement, from someone like myself, just trying to get out, their energy,
Yeah.
in the way they want.
I mean, those guys probably feed off of you still snowboarding and maybe drags them out to the hill. Do they
I would
still...
hope so. That's what I would hope. But you never know,
Yo, so when you grew up, Massachusetts, did you grow up with Chris Grenier?
No, I didn't. I never knew Chris or Scott or any of those guys until I was like.
So what was your whole like introduction into like pro snowboarding? Did you go to like High Cascade
God.
and you were like, damn, this is my shit. I want to snowboard, hang out with these guys, or did you just watch videos in Massachusetts and that kind of got you all excited? Like, how did this all come about? How did Mike Rapp?
I just been that. Well, I guess the first time I started snowboarding, I haven't spent a day where I haven't thought about it in my life since I saw it since I saw a snowboard. So it's kind of just been like, when something takes the front running of like your priorities, like you just find ways to keep trying to figure it out and just keep taking it to the next level.
So would you say snowboarding is in a certain light, your number one priority? Is it like what you think about the most? Do you love it the most?
I wouldn't say I think about it the most. I would say it's my number one priority because at this point in my life, it's how I'm gonna make a living, and I enjoy doing it. So I'm gonna treat it as best as I can, to keep doing it as best as I can. So yeah, it's up there, and I got new priorities coming in. So that's been another thing, just like kind of organizing everything.
What are these new priorities? I mean, you do a lot
life.
of art. You play. I mean, you play a lot of music.
It's not new priorities, just like new things that come about. Whether it's projects, music, relationships. It's just finding all the energy to make sure that everything is
balanced.
Yeah, exactly. Because the snowboarding's amazing, but it's not necessarily my top priority right now in my life, because it's gonna lead to all the other things at this point. But I think it's more so. I have other priorities and goals in life that are far beyond snowboarding.
I gotta ask, like, okay, so do you know Andrew Crawford?
I know of him. I don't know
Do you
him.
know his like whole story? Anyways, I watched a little TED Talks the other day on him, and basically he was pro snowboarder. Used to ride for, I don't know, a bunch of rad. I think he rode for Nitro and Drake, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, now he worked for NASA. He worked for Google.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of did all that. Now he's in like space engineering. Like,
Yeah.
do you think when you said that, where you said you're gonna? Do you think you're gonna go into like a
No,
warp of like
no.
school and stuff, or you
Well,
just mean like?
First off, let me just say that I think that it's possible to do anything you want. Really, like if I wanted, if I had any interest right now in NASA or anything like that, I'd be like, yeah, I'll go do that. And maybe you can figure it out. Maybe not. I don't know. But if I want to do it, I'll do it. But for me, I guess my priorities aren't so much like, doing anything crazy. It's more so just like finding ways to be happy. That's simple,
Yeah.
Find some simplicity and stuff that really counts.
Whenever I see somebody who's gone through like some crazy shit in their life,
Mm-hmm.
including all of us, I mean, every single person, once you make it to our age,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's been through so much
just a game of
different stuff.
numbers.
It's hard to even comprehend. So everyone's going
Totally.
through it, and it's interesting when you talk to somebody, how do you cope with it? Like, and then you see people like doing these dope things that kind of relieve them of those stresses. It's kind of nice to like feed off of that. Like, I get up in the morning and I kind of see you and Parker out in the RV, and you guys are kind of stretching, chilling, like a little cup of coffee. The sun is kind of like beating on you guys, and I'm like, oh, that looks nice. Like that feels like that could alleviate a little bit of that or whatever.
I mean, the morning is an important time. You want to ease right into that day.
The morning is, dude.
It's a long day. It's a short day. It's a long day. It's whatever you make of it. But I just it's nice on a trip like this where you have the luxury to enjoy a morning, with people you're close to, and just like get the day started in the best way that you can, because why not?
Exactly. And I mean, these guys that we're on the trip with I was mentioning earlier, this Vans trip. These guys are kind of like your family now in a way, I would say. Like when I'm like, you guys maybe don't, I mean, obviously you do feel that way, but me from an outsider kind of hanging out with you guys for the first time, I'm like blown away by like how you guys all vibe and like work together. It's like, it is like a crazy dope family. And when I see you guys, I'm like, this is rad. I was like,
I've been tripping on it the last couple of days because, like, when a lot of the times you get on a trip with other guys and so much energy and you don't even take a step back to think about it. But luckily, when you're driving on the road, you got many hours to process it all. Maybe even a little quiet time, if everybody's feeling that. And then like recently, in some of those moments, I'm like, damn, it's an incredible group of people, and to take a step back and kind of see what we're doing and our relationships with each other, it's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's very rad, and it's a rarity, I feel like, within a team, a snowboard team at least, to have like that vibe. And when you do get that vibe, it's so authentic that it like creates something special. Chad Chomlak, who's a photographer up in Whistler, great guy. He once told us about like our Man Boys crew. He's like, you know what the dopest thing is? That you guys are like actually best friends, and that vibe comes out in the films. And that's how I feel like when I'm cruising around with you dudes and you guys are filming and you guys are making Landline and I'm watching this stuff that you guys are putting out. It's like you guys have like this vibe and energy that you guys aren't even trying to put off, but it's just like today we're hiking in the pipe. And there's like 5 people chilling at the bottom, a few beers, a few little joints, and like a few people playing some tunes. And then there's 2 people kind of wrestling in the corner. And then some guys like Pat Moore's trying to learn hand plants, and like Dan's doing wildcats to fakie, and you're getting your jib on. You're kind of like switch smashing your edge to switchback 9 or whatever. It's like, I don't know. Today that vibe up there was just like,
those are sessions. That's kind of what you want, or that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm looking for a session where people are just like kind of doing their thing, expressing themselves however it is that they need to express themselves, with no judgment, like unapologetic, just expression. And I think that you get that from like our crew because like, we're all just trying to be ourselves, I think. And I think that that's why the whole crew can get on with each other, because like it's just, I don't know. We've just all been doing it for quite some time now, so it's just, good friendships.
It's amazing. I mean, the first day we were all seshing and we were hitting this quarter pipe at Mount Hood, and I like hit it a few times and I screwed up and I was like falling and stuff, and I kind of like went into my own insecure shell, and I was like, damn, I'm with like all my favorite snowboarders. I'm kind of blowing it. I've been kind of working a bunch, so I haven't been on my board for the last 2 weeks. And then there's this one point where I could kind of sense that, especially with you. You have a really nice aura that like is very like friendly and like come a part of this and like no judgment kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's weird, but you actually kind of put that off, and it made me feel a little bit more comfortable. And I was like, oh, okay, like I'm just going to do my thing for a bit. And from the first day on the trip to now, it's like coming and just kind of messing around on my board the way I think a lot. Me and my buddy Derek Malinsky from Whistler, we call it slooping. We kind of ride around the hill kind of slow, and we kind of front 180 into blocks, kind of like
life.
Yeah, dude.
It's
like
my favorite type of snowboarding. I think.
It's definitely my favorite thing.
Fun.
It's just messing around on small stuff like like dude. Same. We were kind of ripping the same kind of speed, like the nose blunts on the coping, and then you kind of land on the top and you just kind of tap something. It's I'm a huge fan of the mess around on the deck.
That expression, that's all it is.
So who's some of the boys out there right now, Vans team, whatever? Who's a few links that you're like fiending on these days? Do you have like
Footage
a dude
is
right
hard.
now?
I don't know. I just been like doing so much of the footage stuff over the years that like I haven't been so interested to watch a lot of it recently. But luckily, I get to be on a trip with a lot of these guys and like see them snowboard in person. And I'm like, damn, that's like it's like music. I think since I've been playing music, I realize like, you know, you can listen to someone's album. You know, you can listen to like a song, a download or whatever. But it's different than seeing a band like in person. You know, and I think it's the same as snowboarding. It's like you can see all the Instagram clips and the video parts and everything, but like when I see someone snowboard in person now, that's when you can make like the judgments as to like, because it's more than just like tricks. It's like what you're talking about with like maybe like an aura or something like that. Like people put off like a certain kind of feel, and I think that, you know, when you catch somebody riding around, you're like, damn, that person is. You can just tell that they're just expressing themselves or something, you know, and it helps when they're incredibly talented, which I'm fortunate enough to be around a lot of those people, and you just are like, damn, like that's when I'm like, I get that excitement that maybe I got from the videos back in the day or you know magazines or whatever, but I'm trying to like experience it with people. I was at Super Park and I watched. Jeff Holtz showed us some links on this Vimeo account of Mark Goodall and this crew called like the Boob Eyes crew or something like that.
Oh, dude, I know all those.
And I watched
Mark Goodall
that, and
is
I was
incredible.
like, that was like a first time in a long time where I was like, damn, like, it made me want to go film like in the streets. And I haven't really. Actually, I had a fun year filming in the streets, just like a couple trips with these guys. I was just like hyped to see that. Just Mark doing what he was doing. Actually, that whole crew. Yeah, I know Mark.
He's been cruising around Whistler kind of forever. I'm not that close with him, but kind of the same year that Dylan came to COC, Mark came to COC. Totally different vibes, not the same vibe.
Yeah.
Totally different styles.
Yeah.
And dumbfounded to see the amount of talent between those two kids, and you know Dylan did his own thing and Mark did his own thing. But I definitely noticed when those two kids came to camp that year, I was like,
wow.
This is a level of talent that is just like not everyone's going to be able to achieve.
Totally.
And
and
that's
Mark,
a cool name
Mark
drop.
Also,
Mark Goodall.
Mark's
shout
also
out.
got like, you know, head and shoulders. Like he's looking at things a bit differently, and you know, in this world, it's like you might as well.
Totally.
You know, and if not, then hopefully you're doing your thing.
Somebody said this like cheesy quote the other day. I forget, or maybe I saw it on Instagram. It was like, be yourself because everybody else is taken. And it's so shitty, but it's so true. It's
those simple quotes are just their truth. That's just fact.
Yeah, it is
You know?
factual.
Going back, actually, no, I had a thought when we were talking before, to you saying that you went back in like your insecurities during that session. But that's like, I'm realizing I would assume it happens to everybody. And if not, it happens to me, especially like at the beginning of some of these trips where there's a lot of energy swirling around. People are like, you know, people are trying to figure out how to get on everybody's level, you know, in a group setting. And so I think it's easy to feel like that. I felt like that a little bit. And then you just kind of cool it a bit and just relax. I don't know. But that was something that I took from like some road thought, you know.
I have so many friends that I'm really close with that are pros for obvious reasons, skateboarding, snowboarding, whatever. That you have a few drinks with them. Like you said on day one of the trip, you're like, you know what? It should be mandatory to get drunk. We should all get kind of drunk on day one, and then we kind of, you know, then that border's broken immediately, and we kind of have the hangover the next day. We open up. It's like, you know, it does kind of break the boundary.
Maybe it is liquor, maybe it's snowboarding, but you got to get people together right off the bat. It does.
Okay, what's your favorite kind of terrain to ride? Are you like, do you want to ride park the most? Do you want to go around the street, or do you want to ride power? Does it need to be a mix to get you through the whole year? Slush season? What's Rav about? What are you surfing?
I'm just kind of at a point where maybe I got a place to go, and then I'll just kind of go from there. You know, like maybe like there's a trip going there, and then you can get on that trip and you snowboard what's going on there. I've been fortunate enough to have like opportunities to get on trips, so it's like I'm not really picking and choosing what I'm doing, but like, this year I rode a bit more powder, which was nice, and kind of like.
Who was on that trip?
Doors.
You were.
I was working on a Capita project with Brandon Cocard, and pretty much all the trips were like powder trips, except the last one in Tahoe. And we did 3 of them, and we're making a video where we made all the music and everything like that.
I've only met that homie once or twice, but good vibes from that guy.
Yeah,
for
Brandon's
sure.
the man. Incredible, talented person.
What do you think about Arthur joining Capita?
Oh my God. I had to pretend like I didn't know because like people were like trying to keep secrets and stuff. But yeah, it was like best news. It's like the best person that you could have on. I actually, it's funny. I pretty much have all the same sponsors as Arthur, so I'm like, it's nice.
Yeah, Capita.
Because what I'm realizing is that these trips are about just getting in contact with people that you want to spend more time with, and like maybe like not emulate, but take a little bit of knowledge from whatever it is, how they make coffee, what they do. It's like because everybody's got their way. So it's good to just see people and how they live and not copy, but just pick and choose. Maybe you like something, you adopt it, and then, you start maybe, I don't know, changing your ways. I don't know, but it's all just like all these people, all these amazing people. You get everybody together and you can just like learn from everybody and pick and choose what you like, and maybe some cooking styles, breakfasts, things people do, for bettering themselves.
I like that you're mentioning a bunch of stuff that's not snowboarding.
Oh yeah, I mean, we could not talk about snowboarding and that would be great.
Yeah.
I mean,
totally.
it's just a tool, I think, for now.
It is. It's a fun tool.
Yeah, it's a sick
slippery, fun tool.
Yeah, best of times on a trip every day. Every time I strap in, I'm like, another day. Wow.
So this year you worked on a Capita project, and is it just you and Brandon?
We had some other guys come in. Zach Marbin played some music with us, and we got him on a trip. And
Big fan of Marvin.
we had Kevin Court, aka Gravedigger from back east. We Skylar Brent, our filmer, him and I used our Sky Miles to fly Kevin out for the week and got him out there and got some Gravedigger energy. And if you don't know him, then you could take a look on YouTube or something.
Does he get the energy going?
Yeah, I lived with Kevin for many years. He's just like, I don't know, a ray of light.
I like it. Breath of fresh air.
Yeah, just like good person, and it's just good times.
Just because we should bring it up, J2 passed away. That seems like somebody else that's like one in a million.
Totally.
Like the posts I saw today, I took the time to read. I actually kept going on my Instagram and
I don't think a
refreshing
million
it
could
to read the stories.
Quantify, a lot of some people, and I didn't know him, but from what I gather, to have people react the way that they did, then you got to be you had to have really touched people. And I think those people that touch people like that are one in a million. Doesn't even do any justice, I don't think.
I mean, I still say County Orange, baby, to this day. Like
County Orange, baby.
J2, that part, and he like ollies through that super sketchy tree. We got Arthur just crawling out of bed right now.
A little nap time.
He's taking a picture of us. We're going to get Arthur on one day. But for now, we got Mike Rav on, which is dope as shit. There's not a lot of pressure on this trip.
No.
There's no real like crazy expectation. Where I've gone on trips
Can't
before.
have that.
and
Well,
it's
okay, let's
different vibes.
venture outside of snowboarding where it's just like anything else. The tighter you constrict, that's what I think is a problem these days, is the tighter you constrict all these things, whether it's, a group of people or your sport or like whatever you do, the tighter you constrict it, the more it just slips right out of your hands. So it's like, you gotta, and I'm fortunate to have all my team managers are like, or, all the people in my life are just accepting of what I'm doing and what we're all doing. Because, I do see a lot of people, maybe they're not in snowboarding or something like that, where they might just feel like they can't do what they want to do.
What they want. Yeah, totally.
Sorry.
I mean, you go to a small town like where I'm from. I don't know if you're from a really small town, but I am. There's a lot of people that due to religious beliefs, the community that they grew up in, their mom and dad, they have this like restraint on. What you said earlier was really rad when you were like, if I wanted to be an astronaut or wanted to work for NASA, I could do that. And I think that it's a really limiting belief, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people put these thoughts in their head that they can't achieve things, or they
Totally.
I'm bound by these circumstances that are unfortunate, and I'm going to let them control my life.
Yeah, I got
That's
a
kind of
joke.
like a deeper kind of thing, but that's really true. It's kind of nice when you kind of leave that shit behind and just follow, like, I can do whatever I want to do. That's kind
Totally.
of what I did.
Yeah, I think that's how
In a
life
way,
goes.
anyway.
I have this joke with my dad where I was like, he told me that I could never be a professional basketball player, and I was like, how are you gonna tell me that? Granted, maybe I could never have qualifications to do that, but I just didn't like the statement. So I joke around it with him, like, yeah, I'm gonna go hit a tryout.
I called my
never
dad
happened.
one time and I was like, Dad, you ever play the guitar? He's like, no, Washniaks, they're not good at guitars. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, all of our families tried to play the
Oh
guitar
my
and we're no
God,
good at it.
dude.
And I was like, I think you forgot that your son was lead trumpet player in a jazz band for like 5 years. I was like, Dad, if I want to be a guitar player, I'm going to be a guitar player.
That's the attitude. Because that's not you either. Granted, that's your family, but I think another thing is, even if someone's in your close realm, you just got to do whatever you feel, and no matter how much you respect that person or whatever, you got to just follow whatever you want to do.
And for right now, what we want to do is snowboard.
Yeah, I'm just trying to experience the world as best I can. And
Snowboarding takes you pretty cool places.
yeah, it's a new thing. It just started a couple of years ago.
What's one of your favorite places you've ever traveled to that you just like, you got there, you saw the people, you hung out for a few weeks, and it just left a good taste in your mouth, and you're like, I go back to this place.
Obviously Japan.
I love Japan too. Those
just
people
have
are
like an affinity towards the culture and just like how people are living there. I had a really amazing time in Chile.
never been.
People are amazing. Landscapes are, but it's like you can have amazing times anywhere. It just depends on like who you're with and what's going on, where you're at, whether or not you're available for to have an experience. Because you can go anywhere in the world. If it doesn't matter how aesthetically pleasing it is, you got to have the right view on it, or else you're just seeing it. You're not really feeling it.
I mean, you go to some place with a negative vibe, and you already have that's a huge thing. Back to if people grow up in a small town and they're told what to believe and what to think, and then they never leave that bubble, and when they do travel, they go to an all-inclusive, which is basically put into you're basically inside of a castle,
Right.
and you never see what's outside those walls. You only know what you see, but you go to these places like Japan and Chile or wherever, it doesn't really matter. And you experience it for yourself,
Right.
with not like a media or a social media telling you what you would feel if you went there and you did
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Then you actually have
That'd
an
probably change
opinion.
you.
It's kind of like what you said about snowboarding earlier. Like, you're like, I don't like to make an opinion on somebody based on their video parts or social media. I'd rather go ride with that person and see what that person's vibe and aura.
Totally, you gotta experience it.
I mean, I've always liked your snowboarding. Knowing you
Likewise.
now
Likewise.
is so different than it makes all the pieces make sense. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, that's who that guy's been this whole time. It's been
that's
really
not
nice.
That's not true though. I've not been maybe this person that I am sitting here right now this whole time. That's for sure. I'm 29. I got 29 years of trying my hardest to figure it out, but I've been trying. That's all that really matters, I think.
Oh, you've been doing, dude. You've been
but
bringing
I am
smiles.
not the same person that I was when I was any other time except right now.
Well, yeah. That's some deep shit, but that makes sense.
Because everybody has a past, and we got stuff that we look back on in different lights. But I think about some things, and I was like, think about where I was at the time. I was like, that wasn't me. So it's interesting to think about.
I mean, some people always say oh, if I could go back, I'd be 21 forever, and I always disagree with that fully, because I mean, I like who I am now more than when I reflect on those other days. I'm like, I know myself way better than I did when I was.
Good.
Yeah, it feels so good.
But you might catch a little window of knowing yourself, and then
The
I'll talk
demons
to you,
come out.
I'll talk to you in a year later. We'll see where you're at. I'll call you up.
I like it.
No, I know you'll be all right.
Yeah, you too.
Call me up. See where I'm at.
Where are you going to be?
Hopefully I'll be all right.
Are you going to go up to Alaska with Valdez, Parker, Zoom?
It's not impossible, but I don't know. That's a whole different world.
I know. I think that'd be a cool world for you.
I would. I'd trust Parker in that scenario, though. Maybe to at least, I don't know, get on that trip would be That would be something.
You, Parker, and Jamie Lynn, dude?
Dream team.
That'd be the dream team, man. Have you ever hung out with Jamie before?
Yeah, I've spent a decent amount of time with Jamie.
I could see you guys jamming, playing guitar. He seems like a pretty mellow dude.
Yeah, Jamie is amazing.
Yeah, like
Definitely
he's another person I've met, and I'm like, his aura or whatever. I don't like the word aura, but whatever. Like, whatever he's putting out, his vibe or whatever, energy, whatever word you want to use. He's always been. It doesn't seem any more than it needs to be. You know what I mean? It's just like very.
I think Jamie is a good example of someone that's present, and just there. And if you're available to experience, him and what he's all about, then you'll catch it. But if you're not available, then you won't, because you got to be on the right page with him,
Oh, dude. He was walking through the trade show this year with Siggy in hand, smoking a dart in the trade show.
I know someone else that followed suit on that whole ordeal. We were just talking about him, Parker Zamowski.
Yeah.
That was a good night. Fun night.
I bet.
Actually, terrible night.
Why? What happened?
No, it was not terrible. It was just Parker was he transformed into his alter ego, and we had a good time.
His alter ego is booze. Have you been a fan since day one?
Jamie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a funny segue into a conversation. I remember being I was probably 17 or 18, and I was at my buddy Brendan's house, and he had these Jamie boots, and I was like, "Wow, these are so sick!" Like, I was like, "What boots are these?" And he's like, "Those are Vans Jamie Lynn boots." And I was like, "Who's Jamie Lynn?" And in my head, like, I didn't say who's she, but I was like, who's Jamie Lynn? And Brendan was like, "Dude, are you serious?" And this same thing happened with someone else on one of these trips. They were like, "Who's this and that?" And everyone was like, "Dude, you don't know this person." And I sympathized with them. I was like, we don't all know everything, but once I started associating the art, but I didn't really catch like Jamie's whole deal until I started riding for Volcom more consistently, and like get on trips with them, and like just like crossing paths, and I was first introduced to him as a person, not a snowboarder, I think, for the most part.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And then I tuned into the snowboard, and I was like, "Oh man, like that's a blueprint right there," or that's like someone that is pouring whatever they got into what they got.
I had my sister growing up had a Jamie Lynn snowboard Libtech, and I never knew who Jamie Lynn was either growing up. I knew he was like a pro snowboarder, but like I didn't have those old videos, and at that time YouTube didn't exist and stuff. So I wasn't just like able to just go and Google it and find.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, okay, like I know this guy's a pro, but he's not in True Life or the Resistance. Right. So like I didn't know who he was. And now with all the technology, Google, social media, and able to like watch all those old video parts, it's like I'm like dumbfounded by his his stee and like.
Oh my god!
Yeah. I don't even.
His whole existence is like what we were talking about. Just that expression, like that's unapologetic. Jamie's just Jamie. That's like what I'm trying to make strives for. Just be myself and just be unapologetic about it. Because like, who am I trying to please anyway? Except myself. And then if I do that, maybe I could get on with somebody else. Who knows?
You got a girl right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my chick's dope. I found a dope
yeah,
one.
You've been talking about it the whole time.
I know.
Good.
Find a girl that's funny. Find a girl or man or whatever you're looking for that's funny, and I'm telling you, all your problems will be solved. If they ain't funny,
smiles.
Yeah, smiling and funny.
Mm-hmm.
For me, maybe I'm going into the more personal thing. But if somebody's smiling and funny, you want to hang out with that person. What about all those negative people in your life? Are you pretty good at just block? Like, if somebody's like, you go to Hood, you got that dude that doesn't like you. You're pretty good at blocking that guy out.
No, I'll probably feel it, and I'll probably like kind of let it get to me for a second. But that's like ties right into what I was talking about, just being unapologetic about it. If someone doesn't like you, I mean, trying to be my best self, at all times, really. So it's like, if they don't like that, then there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then that case, if and then I just don't see the point in wasting energy on like putting that negativity into a relationship with someone. Like, even if you were to not like somebody, that takes energy. If I know I'm not gonna like get on with somebody, that's just that's unfortunate. We weren't able to connect, but that's okay. And the life goes on. But I think a lot of the trouble is like when someone directs that energy towards you and you feel it, and then you gotta direct it, and then it somehow gets directed back towards them or something. It's like it's a vicious cycle. I don't think that a lot of time should be wasted. I think that you maybe adjust whatever you're feeling and then just move on. I'll even sympathize with somebody if like I feel like they're coming at me. Like I'll be like this seems, because when people attack each other, whether it's verbally, physically, even mentally, it's all felt and it takes energy, and I think that there's a lot of like just pure emotion behind it instead of like thought. Like when you like, oh, I hate this person, or I hate this, or I hate that. It's like, it's just you're just digging yourself into a hole basically, and I think that it's a big problem right now. People
I feel like a lot of people's reaction if they say like I hate this or hate that is it's more the feeling they have at that present time is negative. Yeah. And they want to put that on something.
Or it made them feel some way that they don't like how it made them feel, and they're afraid to like have to voice how it made them feel, It's like I think it's a lot of has to do with insecurities. I think people lash out when they're in insecure states and low energy and sad, and maybe they got stuff going on that people don't realize. It's like I'm trying more to sympathize with people that I feel are like maybe not directing their energy because like they probably just got stuff going on, and I think if we were all in that place, you don't even realize it. Maybe you're just like in blackout mode and you're just like kind of possessed, but you would hope someone might give you just something to pull you out a bit or something, so totally. I don't think that like it's about like shunning people or like pushing people away when you don't get on with them. I think like, I'll put in the effort with someone that I might never connect with, but if I have the energy and I'm feeling it, then I'll try to give them something, because everybody needs a little, I guess, love,
Straight up. There's a lot of people in my life or whatever that like have been negative at certain points, but it's almost like that the reason why they're doing that is because it's so much more complicated than you could imagine, and you almost in a weird way you're like you know that they're lashing out at you, but you give them the benefit of the doubt because that like maybe this has nothing to do with me. They're lashing out at me, totally. But it has nothing to do with me, and it's a lot more complicated.
When people lash out, they might be lashing at a different person, but that's coming. We're all kind of just like mirrors of people, like treat people generally like how we treat people is how they're going to treat us because that's how you give what you get. So if you're constantly giving all the bad, you're just going to get bad, and then it just builds up, and then you lash out at somebody, and you just keep digging, and some people don't ever get out of it.
Oh yeah, negativity is like a fuel, you know what I mean? It's I said this earlier because I always say this. I was listening to a podcast or an audiobook, and there's this like doctor explaining that when you dive into negative thoughts, it opens basically like a wormhole, which can lead to like depression and all this. It's just like it's a really deadly thing to like even let yourself go.
Yoda said it best.
You don't need if you go into a negative thought. That he literally says, start saying the complete opposite. Like I am happy.
Yeah, but that's obviously easier said than done. It's like we're all human. We all feel all these things, and like there's a lot of like self-help stuff you can do out there, but I think it like comes down to where everybody's at and what they're willing to give to themselves, because like there's so much stuff we can do in this world and so many people interact with on a minute basis. Like I don't think they make enough time to interact with themselves to figure this stuff out, like it just needs to be more personal, kind of chilling.
Less negativity.
I don't know if it's less negativity. I think it's more thought going into what it's all about, which would hopefully create like maybe less negativity.
So you're saying that when you do have those negative thoughts, look into why you're having them?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that's kind of what we do besides dwelling our thoughts, It's like you kind of want to figure out where they're coming from, so maybe you can change them.
Well, like Tony Robbins says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
True. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the people that you surround yourself with. That's true.
And who do you surround yourself with off season? You skating lots. You're going to hang out with your girl after this trip.
I got a good circle. All the people that I get to chill with are like, good people. I try not to, get to travel around, experience different people, and see what's going on. Make new friends when I can, and just enjoy the company I got while I got it.
I love it. That's dope. That was nice.
I'm curious as to what we're gonna do for dinner tonight. What do you think we're gonna do, Jody? Harry was talking frozen pizzas, but I'm kind of not feeling that.
I'm not really feeling frozen pizzas either because we've done that twice in this trip already. But if we're in Mammoth, I like it. Should we wind down and go get some food?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm kind of feeling a little tired.
Perfect.
Go move around a bit.
I like it, dude. I'm going to maybe jump in the
Jody,
hot tub.
great talking to you.
Dude, Rav, thanks so much for coming on.
And just let me say that having you on this trip has been really cool. I think that just like overall energy and like what we were talking about, positivity, like it's just been great having you. And
Yo,
I'm stoked to
likewise,
talk to
dude.
you.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Rav. Thanks so much for coming
Jody.
on.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is episode 3, Airtime Podcast with Mike Rav. We're going to get him back on in about a year after the Vans
I'll be
project,
here.
after the Capita project. You got anybody you want to shout out?
Oh, everybody.
I like
everybody always does that, but anyone that were to listen to this, then that's cool.
Dope.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks again for tuning in. Peace out, everybody.